We are going to see how to create the voting application, how to create the front end, which is the DApp application, interacts with the Solidity smart content. So first thing is I'm going to work on the smart content because smart content is where we are going to write all our logic, not all the logic, but can say all the simplified solutions like what you want to send to the smart contract as the input and what to get as the output from the smart contract. So what happens when you send the transaction and what needs to be done when you call the transaction. So Solidity is basically very important in writing in dealing with the Ethereum applications or the blockchain applications. So first for creating the smart contract, I'm going to I'm using the remix ID because I can create my own, I can use the Solidity compiler, I can compile the code, but this is somehow the UI based, so I like to work on this UI based. So I'm creating an application called Castry Road, so on the remix ID. So as the first step, we need to tell the compiler the type of, the version of the Solidity we are using. So I'm just giving the version. Next, I need to create a content of the name Road. Okay, so this is very simple program. So now I'm going to create a constructor function. So this is like a basic function. So we will see what this function will do a little later. So since this is the voting application, as you know, for in the voting application there will be more than one candidate. So you need to have the candidates list, right? Yes, candidates list or candidate list is fine. So because as we know there will be more than one candidate who will be in the voting, who will be contesting on the polling. So we are creating a list of the candidates who are all going to be participate in the voting. Next, once this is done, as the next step, we need to see for each and every candidate. So you need to count the votes. So you need to create a mapping function that maps your string uint8 probably because uint8 is enough for me. Say votes received. I will explain you what this function is. Say, suppose candidate A is getting 3 votes. Similarly, candidate B is getting 5 votes. So what this one, each and every candidate is getting some integer votes. How are we representing the candidate? As the string. Here this is the candidate list is the string, but each and every candidate is of the type string, right? So what will be this votes received function is this equivalent to, let me copy this one. I don't know whether it's copied or okay. Votes received for A is say 3 and the votes received for B is say 5. So which means you are mapping the string with the integer value for votes. So you got what the mapping functionality is doing, right? So in this mapping functionality, you want to get for each and every candidate the associated number of votes or the vote count needs to be tracked. So or needs to be stored in one place. So this is like array. It's an array how we say candidate candidate 1 is receiving 5 votes, candidate 2 is receiving 6 votes, candidate 3 is receiving 7 votes. So similarly, we are storing it in a type of array format. So this was what this mapping functionality is. See, suppose if you cast the vote is my, say, my constructor. So suppose I'm initializing the constructor with the candidate name, say for example. So what? See, this is the array, string array. I can push the value, the push of candidate name. So which means my candidate, the first candidate is pushed into this candidate list. So you got it right. So probably here I can log something, say, sorry, a candidate list is, say, candidate list. I haven't implemented this log, but I haven't implemented this event. Even say log of a string, a string comment, string variable. Say this is my simple. Okay, so this is how I am. Okay, sorry, this is a string, right? So because I'm inserting one of the first candidate, so let it be this one. So let give the view as the public view. So just run a simple program. I mean, because in the Solid it's really difficult to debug everything. So we need to, for each and every function, I prefer to run simple program. See, string candidate name. Say suppose I'm going to give candidate one is my this one, and I'm going to create. So this is creating a smart contract, and since this is the constructor, if I go and see on the details, let me scroll down a little. See the candidate, in the candidate list we have the candidate one. Yeah, candidate one is what we have given as the input in the constructor. So hope this is very simple example. Now we need to cast your vote. So for casting the vote, same. I'm going to write a function. Cast your sorry. Oaths received, for example. Or vote for. This vote for. And I'm going to pass the candidate name to whom I need to cast my vote to. Okay. So what happened is, so in the candidate list, you will be having the list of candidates, right? Oh, suppose first, let me add few more candidates before the vote for. Let me add some more candidates. Okay. Say I'm using the same variable. So it is nothing but you need to push the same function. You need to push the candidate here, candidate list. So now you'll be having more than one candidates. Now suppose I want to provide my votings for, say, the candidate name. So what first step I need to do is I need to go through this candidate list and this is like a very simple. So for each candidate I need to compare whether this particular candidate is there in the candidate list. If it is this, then increase the votes to 1. Okay, so let me go through. So for each candidate, right? So for var I is equal to 0, I less than, so candidate list dot candidate list dot length and then I equals plus here. So if, since this is a solidity, we cannot do a normal string comparison, so we can compare using the KK 256, which is equal to the it is one of the SHA algorithm. So what I'm going to compare is candidate name, because the first input here is the candidate name is equal to KK 256 of candidate list of I, because we need to compare everything, right? So if it is right, then we need to increment the odds received. In the odds received of a candidate list of I is equal to same odds received of candidate list of I plus 1. Very simple. So what? Okay, public. Okay, so this is not where. So this U and 8. Okay, so this is a very simple. Okay, so what we are just updating the function. We are just incrementing the votes for each and every candidate. Now we have incremented, we have voted for candidate, but we need to get that votes right. So function say total votes received. Say for string candidate name. So for each and every candidate, you need to see how many votes are received, right? So U and 8 of, because here we have already mentioned it is the U and 8. Say votes, votes. Yeah, that's fine. Now this is also the same. So for this candidate, I need to return my vote. So I'm using the same function, but let me explain you what needs to be done. So for you in for each candidate in the candidate list, I'm going to get this candidate 1, but here I'm going to return votes received for candidate list of I. Simple. It's a very simple program. Now again, let me run. Say for simplicity, I'm using just the ABC, just because it is really easy. Okay. Now I have the contrast creator. Let me add one more candidate, say B. Now let me add one more candidate, say C. So C. So I've added the candidates A, B, C. So now let's say total votes received for A. What it is returning. Okay, just a second. What was this one? A function is restricted to you. Okay. Okay. So now I'm going to say that what is the total votes received for A. So I haven't casted any votes to any candidate, so it will be like a simple 0. So now say let's vote for A. So once I vote for A, my vote count has been increased to 1. Similarly, let's vote for B. Let's vote 2 times for B and then 3 times for C. 1, 2, 3. So now the votes received for A is 1. The votes received for B should be 2. Yes. And the votes received for C should be 3. Perfect. So this is what our solidity code is for OT. So as the next step, we will see how to integrate this code with, we'll create a front-end application, and we will see how to integrate this Solidity code and call through your front-end application. Okay. So for creating the front-end application, I'm going to use to integrate with to interact with the Solidity. I'm going to use the Truffle Webpack, because the Truffle Webpack has got all the predefined libraries already specified in the JSON file. So you don't have to explicitly specify any libraries unless until it is needed specifically for our application. So this is a simple application. So here I am not using any complex variables or the libraries. So also we will use the Webpack. Let's see how to use the Webpack. So for creating a Webpack, I'm just creating a new folder called the voting sample. So now we need to go to your Node.js command prompt. Okay, let me drag here and let me go to that particular folder. Now I'm going to install Truffle and Box Webpack. So this will install all the necessary packages. So once this is run, you can see at the back end, there's so many projects, not the projects. So the folder structure will be downloaded and with the required files. So let it get downloaded. So meanwhile it is downloading inside the contracts. You can go into the contracts and you can copy and paste the Solidity code that we have run on the Remix ID just now. So I'm just going to my Solidity code. Let me copy this and paste it and create a notepad here. Add a new file. Is this one? Test document say cast.sol. Okay, so now let's open this into your notepad++ and let me paste this code. Yeah, that's fine. So now our Solidity code is ready. And then the next step is, see, for each and every contract in the migrations, we need to deploy that particular contract. So we need to provide our details over there. So here, let me open the smart contract. Inside the migrations, we have to deploy the smart contract. Let me grab the window here. Okay. So here the artifact. So whenever we run, we compile the smart contract. So we need to provide them wherever which Solidity code we need to refer to. So my code is cast.your.sy, right? So I will just comment this, remove this one. Yes, I'm going to give the same name here. So if you remember, in our Solidity code, okay, this is the Solidity code. So in our Solidity code for the constructor, we have passed a string. So similarly, while deploying also we need to pass this string, or else it will fail in your migrations. So let's say test1. It's a very simple. Okay, test1 is my user, or say okay, user1 plus better, right? More than test1, user1 is better. Okay, I'm just saving this one. So hope you get the details. So we need to create a variable that contains our solidity artifacts or our solidity code artifacts, and then we need to deploy using the function called deployer. So in this function, I'm going to deploy my this artifact as the first parameter, and then I'm going to pass the list of arguments that I have provided in the solidity code for the constructor. So in my case, I have provided just the one user as the input, so I just given the solidity, the user one as the simple user one as the test user, and I saved it. So in the meanwhile, my truffle is also uh, truffle unbox webpack has also downloaded all the required artifacts. So now here in the context, I don't need the convert lib and meta coins. I'm just going to delete this one. Now we have the package.json, right? So we need to install all the required packages from which are present here if it is not already installed on our side. So I'm going to run npm and start. So this will install all the required packages. So just wait for a few minutes. So it will complete the installation. Okay, now the installation of all the required packages are done. As the next step, in the truffle.js, I need to update. See, in the truffle it is pointing to 7544, but my test client, the Ganache test client, is running on 8545. So I'm just going to provide that value here and just save this one. So in the truffle webpack also we have made the required modifications. So as whatever we had done so far, we have created the caster oat contract and we have copied and pasted it in our contracts folder inside the contracts. We just pasted the contracts folder and we have removed already existing uh, the unused solidity code which are not needed, like metacoin and one more thing, I don't remember that name. So we just removed those contracts and we just have whatever is needed for our applications, and then we have updated the truffle.js package with our latest test RPC port number, and then we have updated our migration code. We asked them to point to our cast here out solidity code. So you got like whatever we have done so far, and we have installed the packages which are there in our package.json file, and these packages are installed in our node modules. Next thing is we need to concentrate on this application folder. So this is where all our applications like the front end HTML and the JavaScripting and the CSS file will be placed. So the first one, if you see here, is our JavaScript. First let's concentrate on the HTML. We want to make sure how our HTML page should look like, because we know what our solidity code will do. It's when a person clicks on cast and it will cast the word if not it will to do some other operations. So we'll see how to add how our web page should look like. So just open web edit with Notepad ++. Okay, let me edit. I already have the voting symbols in. Let's voting DApp application over here. A simple hello world or simple voting application is fine. Okay, so here what happens is, so I'm going to create this as a candidate, and see the first candidate we have added is the user one, right? So let's provide the candidate ID is 0, and then I'm going to call the two functions like the vote for candidate and then add the candidate, because let me explain what these two functions will do. So when you go to your solidity code, So you have the vote for candidate, and then you have the add candidates. This total votes received will be like a alert, or like a in the web page we can show them how the votes this one will function. So the AND candidate is like, suppose because I'm passing just the only one argument, I'm not passing the string list as the argument, because I feel like it should be dynamically, a table needs to be created and updated with the required information. So I'm just writing the cast here, adding these two functions, add candidate and the vote for candidate as the functions. These are like major requirements for us from the web page side. So in the index.html, I just created like this. So let's run this HTML page. So just have to make sure how it looks. So this is how my simple voting application will look like. So if you give some user one click vote, the vote it should the total votes solidity function should be called, and the vote value should be placed here. If it is the add candidate, dynamically a new row needs to be added here with the candidate name, and ID should be dynamically added to the application or to the table row or table column. We'll see how each functionality will work. Now it's time to edit our application.js file. Very important file. Okay, so let me delete whatever is already existing. Let me delete all the stuff. So this is like the first step is we import the style sheet. Whatever style sheet we are needed, we just go and import that one. Then the next step is we need to import the required libraries, the Web3 library, because Web3 is the one which interacts with the Ethereum, and then we need to import our contract, the truffle, which is from the truffle contract. The reason is this is where we are going to store our JSON artifacts. Okay, so probably if you're not sure what this is, I will explain you a little later. Let me save this one. Okay, so let's go to your command prompt. Okay, this is our command prompt. Before that, let's see the folder structure. See, the folder structure is apps, contracts, migration, node, module test. But once you once you compile this truffle project, a build folder will be created which contains this contracts JSON file. Let me show you. So just say truffle and then come. So this is where I have my truffle. If you globally deployed, you will be having some location. So, or if you already installed it, whatever the truffle, wherever the truffle.exe file is there, you just provide that location and say compile. So while this is running, you can see at the back end the build folder will be created automatically. See, so it is building the modules and writing the artifacts to build underscore contract. So if you go inside the build and the contracts, your cast.json file will be automatically generated. So this is where we need to provide as the input for our truffle. Input is one of the input, or we need to import that in our the artifacts in our application.json file. So since it's a voting application, I'm going to create this as the voting artifacts, and name is castyourvote.json is my application name. Now, so what are the steps that you need to follow while if you want to integrate the Solidity with the truffle truffle webpack or not truffle webpack, the JavaScripting. So the first step is there are certain steps. Let me show you. Let me go to the truffle web page. Just a second. Okay. So if you go to the truffle framework, we can see the list of steps. Sorry, it took some time for me to see. So the first thing is you need to import the JSON artifacts into your local. So once you import the JSON artifacts, then from that JSON artifacts, you are going to run the contract application. So what this contract function will do is it will import all the required smart contracts into your which are in the JSON format into your variable or into your object, and then with that object you are going to set the provider, and then you are going to call the required functions. So these are the four basic steps that we need to follow. So in our first step we have imported the JSON artifacts. The next step is you need to so we have imported all the required JSON files. So now see. So this is the first step that we have done. We have imported the required JSON file. So next is we need to turn the contract into the abstraction. So how? So for that we need to import the truffle contract library, and then it will have and then you need to call this particular JSON file. So here in our side we have already imported this truffle contract. So the next step is I'm going to create a variable called outing. Say outing is equal to as I said the contract of the J of the outing artifacts. So here I'm going to give this outing artifact. So this is the second step. Wow, as it is all. The reason why I'm showing you this document is it is easier for everyone to understand and how to proceed further. The next step is we need to for this particular contract we need to set the providers like where to listen, where this particular contract needs to be run. So to which host and port it needs to be listened. So we need to set the provider and we need to deploy the contract. So this deployed is also again the one of the function. So because see here we have passed the contract of the JSON file. So what this contract is, the contract is basically from the truffle. This is the object that points to the truffle contract artifact. So in this truffle contract, this deployed is one of the function. So we'll look deep into what are the functions we have in the truffle contract, but little later. But now we will see how to run this applications in a step-by-step manner. So next is we need to set the provider. So where do we need to set the provider? So the provider should be loaded when the Windows window is loaded. Okay, so that's why I'm calling this function a window of onload of function. Okay, so you're clear with this one. Now I'm going to create. See, whenever I want to set the provider, so before that I wanted to create a provider. So say window data web3 is the new provider, so new web3 of new web3 dot providers dot of this is already we have seen the last classes. Okay. So the reason for providing this window.web3 instead of var.web3 is if it is the var, then it is not for the full window but just for that particular section. But I want this web3 should be available for whole window or the whole transaction. So I'm just specifying that as the window dot web3. Now I can set where is this one? Set the provider for my voting contract. Set provider of what is this web3 dot current provider. Okay. So now our web3 is pointing to a current provider. Now what is the last step that is there in the document? Now you need to call this one. So if your contract dot deploy, then what needs to be done? So let's copy and paste this code. Okay. So here our code is the voting. Okay. Voting dot deployed. Say voting. Votes or something like that. Okay. So what needs to be done when the voting is deployed? So for voting is deployed, we need to get the each and every candidate's total number of votes received. So the basic logic we needs to think. So right, see, let me show you the HTML page. Okay, sorry. So this is a HTML page. So when this page is loaded, we want the total votes. By default, it will be 000. But this total votes needs to be updated here. Okay. So for that, first we need to get the candidates list. So here let me create the variable called say candidate list is equal to. So first I have already specified the candidate list name as the user one. So let it be the same, the user one. So here, okay, here we can run this contract. Okay, let me let me migrate this application. The reason for migrate is it will just defer all our artifacts, the required contracts. So yeah, it is successfully migrated. The next step is let's run this application. The reason it's run is whenever we are making the changes, it will tell what is missing and what is not missing. So is there any error? So let's save this one so to make sure. Okay, sorry. Okay, it is failing because of this. Where is this one? This one. No, it should run successfully. So it is running successfully now. The compile successfully now. So what happens is, so here I'm going to get the candidates list. Okay. So whenever this candidate is deployed, then what this function votes of function is this value, the successfully deployed, then the return value or the return parameters will be stored in the votes. So with this votes, I am going to call, where is my solid code? Just a minute.